I've mentioned several times that when someone opens 15 to 17 no trump, they're twice as likely to hold 15 points as 17, and that is why you should be a little bit conservative on making a game try as responder when you need your partner to have a maximum for the game to have good play.
Closed room, no trump from north.
So we're expecting a 2-no trump rebid, and oh, I see, of course, West has come in at the 1 level on this bidding, which will affect what happens. He might still rebid 2-no trumps, and then South will probably raise.
That makes the north hand even better.
No trump in competition and have it.
No, I don't believe 1 no trump by West. No.
For the methods.
Undo, please, operator.
Probably
No.
dividing a 3-cut heart, otherwise he would have doubled one spec.
Aha. So a free 1 no trump here must show 17-18 or 17-19 for that pair.
Rankings.
As North could have passed. As North could have passed with a minimum balanced hand.
Well,
Even though he could pass, it's certainly something you need to discuss with your partner before telling him he should know 1 no trump is very strong. Because I think by default you would assume the 1 no trump rebid to be still the weaker half of the 2 main no trump ranges, but including spade stoppers.
Wooldridge is 14-16, hence the 1 diamond.
So we have Paul Gipson from Scotland with us now.
Yes,
Good afternoon to you, Paul, and welcome.
The no trump rebid.
Thanks, Roland. Sorry I was late. So luckily it doesn't seem like I've missed too much.
With that style in the context of a natural base.
Still, South has the information that he's facing 17 or 18, it seems. And with a 7 count and a 5-card suit, he's likely to make at least a game try. Maybe even to make sure he gets the game. We'll see in a moment.
Or clubs, or 10 to 13 balanced. So from Wooldridge's point of view, with a bare 7 count, particularly it's the lack of intermediates in hearts. I suppose the only issue is whether, if you had available 2 clubs,
Well, do you think there's doubt in Wooldridge's mind as to what 1 no trump is? Whether it's a 12-13 hand? No, I don't think so, really. He was just contemplating, whether it was worthwhile making a game try.
Seems more likely that your first suggestion is right, that he thinks it's weak, although that would be pretty amazing in the semi-final of the Bermuda Bowl.
In theory, I suppose 2 hearts and 2 clubs, but he almost certainly can't.
I would think he'd be worried about his jack of spades isn't worth much, or may well be completely hopeless. Another part, I don't know whether you discussed it, Roland, is whether he whether North would always rebid 1 no trump with 3-card hearts, or whether he'd be compelled to make a support double first.
That's a very good point, Paul, because obviously if 1 no trump denies 3 hearts, then the south hand isn't as good as it would have been if partner had 3 hearts.
Both tables in the seniors.
No, but I still don't think he would bypass the chance. As he's only at the 1 no trump level, he can use something like 2 clubs to investigate further. If he knows they've got 24 or 25 points, it would seem a bit bizarre not to invest 1 more level.
Both Souths were too gentlemanly to be able to double it.
Okay. Apparently, Declare listened to us. He took the first spade and he plays a heart. Immediately taken by Weinstein.
It feels natural to shift to a diamond. I don't know whether systemic card would be the 9 or the 7, but the 6 of spades.
I would think the other thing that he'd be thinking of is that there are hands that Hurd would not have opened one no trump, that are reasonably strong, maybe a good 15, 16, that it is more attractive to rebid one no trump when there's been a one spade overcall and partner's bid one heart. I mean, he's just given his partner the benefit of the doubt, and love all that maybe one no trump is often a good place to play unless you can make game.
But Weinstein decided to switch to a club.
Perhaps trying to take the entry out of dummy. Declarer can now...
Now in the other semi-final we heard that the Dutch West balanced with 2 spades over 2 hearts. He eventually went 3 down in 2 spades and Italy gained 1 imp.
2 diamonds and 2 spades is 7 tricks before we... Sorry, 3 spades is 8 tricks before we start.
He was more or less happy to see the 9 of clubs.
The Jack of Spades is not entirely valueless, because after what happened at trick 1, West cannot play spades from his hand.
And Declarer can take a finesse if he can get to dummy.
Weinstein and Levin. They were both juniors at the turn of the century, so 8, 9, 10 years ago. Played together and won the World Junior Championships in Brazil, and in essence have continued to play together as a serious partnership for the last decade. Almost all the junior players...
In fact, there are various ways that South's Jack of Spades can bolster the value of the North holdings. If he had King 10-1 in spades, for example, that might well promote it into a double stopper. So it's not necessarily a bad card.
Defenders are doing their best to try and cut...
Well, one no trump is obviously not in jeopardy. It is a question of an over trick or 2. Not easy to predict, depends on the defense. Most likely he will emerge with 1 over trick.
Can get to dummy to take it.
It's perhaps interesting to note that East knows that there's no future in persevering with spades, because his partner's play of the 10 at trick 1 denies the 9. So it's quite likely that Declarer has ace-9 waiting over partner's queen X at the top of the suit.
Polish team, Tonstein, which is Netherlands.
Yeah, that's the Bakken brothers and Westra Bertens.
Is Parry Match, as it sounds, a French team, or does it come from somewhere else?
I have no clue, but an educated guess, I think there will be Patrick Sucel in it, but I'm not 100% sure.
No,
not?
I have the feeling it's not a French team, because I think I've seen the name before. But, okay.
Not a French team.
They would like to be a French team, but they're not. Israel Juniors 5th, Iceland 6th, and Italians Angelini 7th. It's a team with a minus in their name, apparently, in 11th place. I think that would be bad luck. Okay. The defenders eventually conceded the 8th trick one way or another by force. And a single imp for USA1.
Board number 2, 4 hearts made by north-south in the closed room. For 620 of the lead of the Queen of Spades, you lose 2 spades. And you may lose 2 clubs.
So it looks as if to make game you need to either achieve some sort of end play or play for an intra-finesse.
So whatever interpretation South placed on the 1-no trump bid after that auction, it does seem that the 1 spade overcall stopped them getting into the 3-no trump contract they would otherwise have reached.
And both tables in Netherlands, Italy went down. So we'll check out the play in the closed room shortly, but it looks like a good
That's one of the reasons why I don't really like having to jump to 2-no trumps on a 17 count, which is what playing a 14 to 16 1-no trump implies, because when your partner's got 7, he just has to guess what you've got, and you can get to borderline games. It's not a very helpful range, really.
I know, David, but on the other hand, it allows you to open balanced 11 counts, because a 1-no trump rebid now shows 11 to 13.
Clubs, and I think he will.
Yes, exactly. If you want to do that, as most players do, then 11 to 13 becomes the lower of the 2 main no trump ranges rather than the traditional 12 to 14.
Like that, Stevie.
But declarer has to guess the club still.
Right. I think by the time he comes to guess them, he'll find out about the diamond honors.
Other players get around it by describing their lower range as 11 plus to 14, so they maintain the basic structure, but they sometimes upgrade 11 counts.
I think it's very wrong to lead hard in a social.
I always say less than 15.
Most 16 high cards, where are their tricks coming from? They're coming from roughing things. How do we stop them coming from roughing things? We lead trumps at every turn.
Maybe, but maybe North likes to sit on his trumps due to the fact that he might try to get a diamond rough somewhere in defense. Not here, of course, but might be a reason not to start with trumps.
I think far and away the most likely way, the most likely reason for the opponents bidding this way is they have 8 or 9 trumps between them, and there's a shortage in dummy.
Yep, that was very good declarer play by Mike Cummel in the other room. You had to guess the club position in the endgame, having eliminated. And when he led low towards the queen and the jack came up, ace followed by a small one, he ducked from the dummy. He knew that West was short in clubs. He knew about 5 spades and 2 hearts and at least 3 diamonds. So he played with the odds now when he saw the jack.
Are you sure that he cashed the ace first, because West should unblock the jack if the ace is played to free the passage through to partner's king 10?
Well, he could have false carded at trick 1, but North has just played the king of hearts.
Not quite sure, but I can go through the play.
Definitely guess the clubs now. It's a painful way to make a living, though.
He may have played low towards dummy and ducked the trick into the east hand.
Jan, I know you're an imaginative sort of person. Can you guess, I can't, why there are certain teams whose names are highlighted in green? Is it because they're amateurs as opposed to professionals?
That's exactly how it went. In the end game, with 3 clubs and 2 trumps in his hand, the same distribution in dummy, he played a low club to the 7th spot. And East was unplayed to lead away from his king, or give declarer a rough and discard.
Honest one, that's the team of Joost Prinsen.
Okay.
And I made a bet with this person.
So he's done well in the club suit, and Weinstein has a guess as well, one that I think he's likely to get right.
Maybe that had something to do
to
with
hold the damage
Can we see the play
to
in the closed room, please? Kiko.
500 down, where he'll be in 3.
So the defenders led 3 rounds of spades and declare
do you like the 2 spade overcall here, and do you think Levin always has to bid 4 spades? And
led a low club covering West's
or has Weinstein stepped out a little bit here and found that he's only just about to arrive?
3 spades to have the king of clubs rather than...
Well, I think that Weinstein well, just decided, non-vulnerable against vulnerable opponents facing a past partner, that he could jump with 5 cards. So, Levin took him seriously, thought he had 6, otherwise he wouldn't have bid 4 spades.
The raise with only 3 spades was...
Yes, I think 2 spades would be regarded as probably the normal bid at this score, and East had a close decision to make. But sometimes I get messages from kibitzers saying, oh, East-West have a good sacrifice here when they're going to go for 500 against a vulnerable game. It may be a good sacrifice at match points, but you don't gain very much for getting minus 500 instead of minus 620 at imps. And in fact, as we saw, it wasn't that easy to make 4 hearts, so to get that 620, declarer had basically a 50-50 guess. And if you go 500 and the game is going down at the other table, it's a very big swing away at imps.
The results so far in the semi-finals, all matches are pretty close, with one exception.
And if you swap the minor aces here, he could well go for 800.
Do you know something about
as you say, going for 500 is not really a success, is it?
USA2 they had a single trials.
No, it's only a success if you go for 300 against a certain vulnerable game in the other direction.
I'm reminded of an early board in the England-Indonesia semi-final in the Venice Cup where Brown and Stockdale went for 1400 in 7 diamonds non-vulnerable against a vulnerable slam, which in fact Brock and Nicholas Smith Sally Brock and Nicholas Smith had made. So they gained 1 imp against 1430, but just imagine if the other pair hadn't bid it. That would be a huge swing away, so it wasn't exactly a triumph as far as sacrifices go. Of course, if they could have got out for 1100, then that's a pretty substantial saving.
But it would have been a big loss regardless, David. I mean, once their opponents were in 6 hearts, and if their teammates hadn't bid to 6 hearts, it would have been a big loss regardless.
Because the slam makes, yes.
Well, the slam was cold. I mean, it had 12 tricks, 12 certain tricks.
Well, it'd be nice if you always knew that, wouldn't it, when you're deciding whether to sacrifice?
No, the point here is, I mean, contrary to what you said first, before, about the 4 hearts being dodgy here, I mean, compared to this 4 hearts, I mean, 6 hearts was indeed cold.
You have to assume that that team is one of the pre-tournament favourites. They've done extremely well in a whole variety of...
But I mean, I don't see that as being very relevant when you're deciding whether to bid 4 spades. 4 hearts may be cold, 4 hearts may not be cold, the same with 6 hearts. So when you're judging whether to bid spades over it, you've got to make allowance for the fact that you're not absolutely certain what you're going to compare your penalty with.
I think a lot depends on the auction. We saw that hand played in this match, and Lal and Grew did not sacrifice in 7 diamonds, and the main reason for that was, I'm sure, that they weren't entirely sure that the opponents knew what they were doing, and part of their bidding was perhaps to try and invoke a sacrifice. As it happens, I think on the hand, Weinstein had again taken a bit of a flyer on the auction, and North-South could easily have been cashing 2 club tricks from...
Given the rougher discard in the ending.
As it happened, partner had the perfect hand opposite, and the small slam was cold in either major.
transnationals open.
But David, I understand your point perfectly well. It could also be that the opponents kind of took a chance bidding 6 hearts, hoping that you would sacrifice if 6 hearts wasn't cold.
That's exactly what they did do in the match I was watching, because the East hand had bid key card, but still had ace-10-9 to 6 hearts, which was her side suit that needed to be filled out, and in fact her partner had king-queen-1, so they had 2 running major suits, and the slam was rigid, as you said, but she didn't really know that.
At 2 tables in the Venice Cup, so certain symmetry there. Also made by the French seniors. On the lead of
so anyway, Weinstein's action, he'll say it was well judged, that he gains 3 imps, as he knew he always would. And then he'll smile.
Yeah, but the defenders could get the heart suit going.
This is not the time to lead a low heart from king queen to 6 against 3 no trump.
Hearts holds the first trick. If he plays a spade at once, if he rises with the ace.
But even if you do, I think you will survive, because clubs are 3-1, so the declarer can't get to 9 tricks before you have set up hearts.
After a low heart lead.
Wait a minute, so you say you win the jack of hearts and you play a spade and he should rise?
He has to rise with the ace of spades, otherwise...
He only has 8, even after a heart lead to the jack.
Then he plays back a heart.
He has to clear clubs, and then a heart comes back, and he can take his 8 tricks and run.
Still, you would expect
Some of our kibitzers will be wondering about Weinstein's preemptive style, because they'll be looking at this hand and thinking, wow, this is just a perfect weak jump over call at this vulnerability. You're 6-4, and you're going to be pretty safe if you do a weak jump over call here. And I'd agree with them, except that Weinstein and Levin play intermediate jump over calls at this specific vulnerability. So he's not strong enough to do that, and that's why he's overcalled a simple 1 heart.
Maybe it's some inverted version
in competition.
Interestingly, in the other room, a diamond was led from West. He didn't touch hearts at all.
I think it's quite interesting that East hasn't raised hearts, but I guess... Well, I think I'd raise hearts, even though I don't necessarily want my partner to lead them.
The heart suit's blocked.
Maybe the fact he's got 5.
So the defenders have to be careful if they lead the 5 of hearts.
Maybe the fact he's got 5 spades means that things might be slightly quieter.
Well, you might bid 2 hearts if 2 clubs was weak, because you wanted to contest the part score and didn't want 2 clubs to be passed out. But 2 clubs is obviously inverted, and he knows therefore that the hand belongs to north-south, and he doesn't want a heart lead, as you say.
Only at 5 tables so
Only
far.
at 5 tables, yeah, but usually you lead middle of down, second, and
No. Nobody who plays middle from 3 cards would get through to this stage of the event.
No?
South can tell from his partner's bid that there aren't 4 spades opposite, but of course that shouldn't detract him from bidding his good holding in spades to assist in the partnership judging whether 3 no trumps is a good spot.
3 no trump had gone down still after lead of the 5 of hearts with the women.
If you don't... If you duck the first heart, you'll certainly go down. If you win
when the bidding, for example, starts 1 heart pass, 1 no trump pass, if the opener reverses into 2 spades, I've heard some people say, oh, he must be 5-6 because a responder has denied 4 spades. Well, that's complete nonsense, of course. I mean, if you've got a strong 4-6, you rebid 2 spades. You're just describing your hand to your partner, and he can judge what to do next.
Very unlucky that the 5 of hearts lead, if that is your systemic lead.
You've never played with Steve Robinson, have you, David?
You really wouldn't expect
I can tell.
Yeah.
No.
Otherwise he would have known as soon as Steve Robinson had opened one club. He has denied a 5-card major.
Apparently, Tuna Trump is forcing. And then... Oh.
No, I was talking about 1 heart, 1 no trump, 2 spades, not a 1 club opening.
It's possible that 3 clubs would not be forcing.
No, but this is my point, David, that when Steve Robinson opens 1 club, his partner can be 100% certain that he doesn't have a 5-card major, so that 2 spades can never be 5 spades.
Levin and Weinstein play a form of Russo.
So Levin's lack of overcall, lack of raise of heart, has encouraged North-South to bid 3 no trumps, and Levin's going to lead.
They lead.
The heart, block the heart.
So it's getting interesting.
Yep.
Now we have a real
Here comes the
challenge. Let's see the play if we can.
Hard block.
That's a bit unlucky because in general the American method of leading low from 3 low might have helped West. If his partner had only a doubleton, in some circumstances he might want to run the doubleton lead into the ace-jack-x to leave his partner with another heart to play. But the low lead would give him a good hint that de Clare only held 2 hearts and he should put in the queen.
Now you see here what happens if Hurd wins the first heart and plays a spade.
De Clare took the first heart.
Then the contract will make if he can get past the ace of spades. Spade now to the king, and now clear clubs.
But the critical moment will come when East wins the 3rd club. When he plays back the 9 of hearts, West will know what the position is.
But how can he know that hearts are...
Know that if his partner had the ace of spades, he can't, unless his partner has the ace of
No,
spades.
he'll go for clubs first. Now it becomes too obvious for Levin.
To deduct the 2nd heart.
So let's first see what West will discard.
Yes.
Second club, he pitched a heart.
As you say, Roland, he's a bit unlucky in that it is a fairly unique situation in the heart suit to get them blocked.
He can afford to pitch a diamond here.
He needs partner to play a heart, and then he needs to duck it if he's going to beat it. I think he can then avoid...
I can understand that he didn't play a spade first. I mean, we can see that he might have succeeded, but I can understand him.
Well, I think so. I mean, he could...
So unless he ducks the 2nd heart,
if the hearts are blocked, then there's also the chance that he could...
Clara has 1 heart, 2 diamonds.
No, it probably does need a spade trick, doesn't he, to make the contract.
Could you somehow cut de Clare off from hand by winning the hearts and playing back a diamond?
Now, Levin's problem here is now that he doesn't know partner has 6 hearts, so he knows de Clare has the jack, of course, because partner followed with the queen, so it's trick 1. So he may shift. Because if he continues hearts, he sets up a heart trick for de Clare, if de Clare has 3 hearts. Ace-jack 1.
That would be funny.
So now how does de Clare stop East from discarding his blocking heart?
Well, he first might play a
he can actually make it a double dummy if he plays the king of spades from the dummy now, but he didn't.
Now Levin's going to unblock the heart.
By West.
So the heart has been discarded by East.
As we can see, he could have made it if he had played the king of spades now instead, because he can drop the jack next. But
when defenders play
it's so easy with all cards in view.
Win and play a heart to his partner. Clever stuff.
Yes. Funny situation.
And Weinstein has made it very clear to partner by discarding that jack of spades, play a heart, go up with the ace.
If declarer had ducked that diamond, the defenders would have had one diamond,
very rare.
two hearts, one club,
Weinstein
and a spade,
and
so
Levin
he had to win it. And if he played ace king and a third,
only know
diamond,
what's happening so late in the defense.
Board number 4. West opens a heart and East responds to with 1-out trump, and there it rests. Lead of the ace of spades. Apparently declarer is down 1. Let's see.
Declarer seems to have the material for quite a lot of tricks, but the defenders might take 3 clubs and 2 spades and a heart, and you can imagine after 3 rounds of clubs, declarer will never get off dummy, so he'll have to lose 2 hearts.
Here West decides to pass. Don't they play?
They play Flannery.
Pretty good effort.
Right, but how many points are there in the West hand?
Go on, David.
Assuming that you don't.
I was just going to point out to you the narrow escape we had with that West hand.
That, Flannery is the favorite convention of Levin and Weinstein.
Right, but they normally reserve it for opening bids.
On this deal, you mean?
West hand is not an opening bid by anybody's standard, is it? Jan?
Exactly. I don't like to say exactly what it was.
It was open in
Joe Gruel's standard.
That's not an opening bid. Joe has different standards to the rest of the world. 13 cards is the main and only.
No, I should explain it that the East-West pair do play a convention known as Flannery, where they open 2 diamonds with 4 spades, 5 or 6 hearts, and opening bid values. And it's a convention that some of the commentators don't have a very high opinion of, although I suppose it's a bit foolish of us because so many top players use it. But he was just a point or 2 short of rating it as an opening bid.
Disastrous, but I would do it nonetheless.
I would lead the spade for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say that it was a nice escape for East next door to get out for down 1 in 1-note trump.
Willing partner to produce the king or the ace at the first trick.
Meanwhile, the Netherlands gained some imps back in their matching.
Well, he doesn't have many tricks, does he?
By a huge margin of .7 imps.
Should also explain the rather strange-looking north bid that a lot of pairs would start with a double, a negative double, whether they had 4 spades or 5, and it would actually show spades the double, usually as part of a complete transfer scheme by the responder after an overcall. So the 1 spade response shows that he's got some other sort of shape. It replaces the sort of normal takeout negative double with values maybe in the minors typically.
So here declare, what can he make? He makes 3 spades.
Well, looking at his hand, I guess that 1-no trump would also be conventional for him here. So he has to bid 1 spade, either with hands that make a takeout double without 4 spades, or a hand that's balanced and would normally bid 1-no trump.
Which is possible.
Yes, if they're playing transfers, 1-no trump would show a club suit and 2 clubs would show a diamond suit, that sort of thing.
The reason is that if West has a doubleton club, he might have to give you another trick.
Now this is declarer's 6th trick. He'll surely play the 10 from dummy, so he has to find the 7th,
3 spade tricks and 1 heart,
and he has to guess whether to find it in diamonds or clubs or hearts.
So
Do you think there's even a possibility?
he knows quite a lot about this hand, doesn't he? He's seen Weinstein overcall 1 heart, but he knows from the lead, which they play attitude, or he will know when the 10 of spades is not covered. Weinstein probably has 4 spades and 5 hearts, and has chosen to overcall 1 heart rather than double. So he's going to be inclined to play West for short diamonds rather than short clubs, I would think.
But Declare plays a quite surprising heart to the 9.
Maybe he was hoping for bare king.
The North-South Convention card does say that one spade denies spades. It also points out that 2 hearts would show a 6-card spade suit. Now 2 hearts, a cubit, is normally used to show a sound club raise, but we've already seen in this very session that they use 2 clubs over 1 heart to show a sound club raise, in inverting the minor suit responses.
Continue in spades here.
Right. Declare may then play the Queen of Hearts and duck.
I don't know who invented this idea of the cubit being used to show a 6-card major, but it seems to be catching on in various places. Seems to be quite popular in the Netherlands at the moment. I know some of the Italian players play something similar.
He has 2 hearts, 3 spades is 5. Oh yes, then he has 2 clubs, sure.
So the Declare can now set up his 7th trick in hearts. That was good play, a heart to the 9, trick 2.
Playing on the suit that your opponents have bid to set up your long winners shows you don't have proper respect for them.
Well, he is completely playing in the style of Bob Slavenberg, who is also a master psychologist at the bridge table, who was that. We just saw a close-up of the bridge player who resembles...
So now he'll get an automatic over trick, 120, and will gain 1 in.
Bobby Levin.
Going back to the previous board for just a brief moment, if Levin had raced to 2 hearts, which I think most people would, he could safely have led the 9 of hearts from 3 small, because now partner knows he has 3 because he supported.
The point that Paul made earlier, that West could be read for short diamonds, is why Declarer was very happy to lead a diamond towards the Queen, because if West happened to have a Doubleton King, that could be ducked out on the next round. As it was a singleton honour, it appeared, and he could then set up a diamond trick.
The other semi-final is also very close, Italy being up by 0.7 of an imp.
You could almost say that they've all wasted their time so far today, however exhausting it was for them. No end product whatsoever. But it's better than getting exhausted and being 40 imps down, of course. If 2 clubs is played as forcing to game, as it would be for most American players, the south hand is rather awkward. Obviously not quite enough to force to game, so he has to bid an extremely heavy 1-note trump.
In there, style. One no trump is not particularly heavy. We've seen in their practice match that when Wooldridge did have an invitational hand, it was an invitational hand with 12 points. So he's not that. He'll be a little uncomfortable, but not that much if I did in one no trump.
But he still would have to bid one no trump on some 6 counts, so that's a really big range, isn't it?
It is. You rely on the opposition to help when you've got a 6 count by telling you in some way that they've got some points.
Now here, Hurd decided to pass one no trump. He could have rebid 2 diamonds, but remember that the one no trump response over diamonds shows clubs. So he wasn't worried about clubs, and he did have 3 spades, and he wasn't too worried about them, and decided to pass. Declarer will just escape here unscathed because King of Diamonds is on.
Had he decided to rebid 2 diamonds, then no doubt West would have protected with 2 spades when that ran round to him, rather than let them play in what was certainly an 8-card fit. Almost certainly, anyway.
That's right, David. Only if responder is 3, 3, 2, 6 do they only have 7 diamonds, provided that North has 5 only. Well, I think I gave him 14 cards, but you know what I'm saying. 3, 2, 2, 6. I'm asked if the live stream is off. I don't know, because I don't have a window open with live stream. Can someone tell me if it's on? Because if it is, I'll give the link again. It's okay. One moment.
So we can see that Weinstein needs to take his ace of clubs here, otherwise Wooldridge is going to emerge with an overtrick on the favourable line, the heart suit and the diamonds. He also knows from Levin's card in that Wooldridge has the King of Hearts, so that suit is coming in. So I think a little surprised.
I can understand him. I mean, he needs partner to have the King of Clubs, right? To beat the contract. So it's correct to switch to a low club in case partner has King Jack. Then he can get a club through and get one more trick.
I'm not sure, would the declarer pitch the Queen of Clubs? I guess he might have, if that was the case.
Are you miffed, David? I mean, you're very quiet. It could be because we have too many one-no-trump contracts.
Well, it's difficult to say something interesting about a one-no-Trump contract. No, I was just going to say I did bring up the live stream video, which of course is very good, and the pictures are of excellent quality, but you can't really follow the play just by looking at that, can you? You have to, am I right, you have to rely on the BBO Vugraph diagrams to see what's going on.
I think so, yes.
I think what the live streaming does show is what an excellent job the Vugraph operators tend to do, because the players don't show you a great deal, and they just flip their cards and show them very quickly to each other and then move on.
Have you tried doing that, Paul? I certainly wouldn't subject myself to such torture.
Okay, so declare.
Yes, I've been an operator a few times, and it's easier if you're a good player. Someone commented on that a few days ago. If you're a good player and you have a fairly good idea what an expert would do in a situation, it does make it easier because you can predict what's going to happen most of the time. But it does depend who's playing. Some players and some countries are far better at showing the cards to the Vugraph operator than others.
And that is indeed the problem, because many players do everything they can, not intentionally of course, to hide their cards, so it's very difficult for the operator to see them.
Well, in that case the operator should feel completely entitled to ask them to show the cards. I mean, it's an important part of the game now, allowing bridge to become a spectator sport.
Well, then they have to change the laws there a bit, because an operator is a kibitzer and he is not allowed to say a word.
Still 3 imp lead for you.
Well, that's another in the list of 20 very good reasons why I shall never attempt the job.
Did a mate in a closed room where you lose a spade and a diamond, but you may have to.
One of them being that, of course, every time a session crashes and the pictures go away, everyone blames the operator, expecting that he's just spilt a cup of coffee on some connecting wire.
North made a negative double. East bid 2 no trumps, which showed a 4-card limit raise or better. 3 spades by
So,
South was
well done by Fleischer and Camel in the other room. It's a bit
stop. West
top spot, really.
unfavorable vulnerability bid 4 spades.
Well, it's Joe Grew.
And North bid 5 clubs. So
You could be put on a guess.
I suppose.
Okay, David, go on.
In 4 spades.
Many pairs use 2 no trumps to show a 4-card spade raise, whereas the cubid of 2 clubs would show a sound 3-card raise. It's not 2 no trumps is a free bid, because of course when you've got a 4-card raise for your partner's overcall, it's most unlikely you should ever want to play in no trumps, so that's why they play it that way round.
It's a pretty accurate description. Notice now that
So declare and 5 clubs can be put to the test. Spade lead, diamond through, and the moment of truth.
Slowly.
And what defense did it get in the other room? Let me see. Oh, West let the ace of diamonds. Well, then even I could make 5 clubs.
Good afternoon, P.O.
Good evening, P.O. No. Still 4 spades by West here. Apparently very tempting to bid.
I guess they didn't get a 3 diamond bid from South on the auction.
Another reason to guess the ace of diamonds later.
Yes. We have a new leader in Netherlands, Italy. That 1 imp has put Netherlands 0.3 in front.
So we won't get the lead of the ace of diamonds here. We will get a spade lead, and we will get a diamond return. and then
rely on Jan to point out whenever it is that
you just have to guess.
take the lead in the match.
Even if it's by
I suppose
one.
when you've seen the ace of spades with East, then you're going to play the overcaller
Was the quarterfinals
for the ace of diamonds,
that,
being
Russian
vulnerable
tournament
for its overcall.
4 of an M.
I mean,
That was because
that's the only clue you have,
allocated
and you will be successful here.
such a proportion as to
Well, you also know that East has the Queen of Spades, since West wouldn't have much reason to underlead King-Queen.
reduce their one and lost 0.4. I'm sure that was a big consolation.
Also a good point, yes, he has denied King-Queen now,
Weinstein is leading check
so
spades.
Declaro is a hot favourite to get it right and insert the jack.
No hurry to shift to a diamond, probably.
Levin might even switch to the queen.
Okay, East takes the ace of spades now. It's even more likely that declares to guess the diamonds right.
I was wondering if West's 3 spades was a bit pushy. He had the option to bid 3 hearts instead as a try. He doesn't seem to have much to spare except for the extra shape.
It is true that the spade lead would probably make Declaro do the right thing here, but it is also true that the spade lead is the only chance for the defense, because if they don't lead the spade, they'll have to lead the ace of diamonds, that will solve the problem, or a heart, and then Declaro is safe, because then he could discard his spade loser on a heart.
But if so, it's not an art movement I would care to belong to.
But it has nothing to do with poker.
I wish you wouldn't talk about hair.
No.
Here.
P.O., you've reached an age where it's no longer embarrassing to you to be short of hair, whereas the same cannot be said for me. Is it something to do with poker? I don't think he officially represents anybody, any organization in poker.
So Levin in the tank here, and we all know that he's going to play a diamond. The only question is which.
Yes.
Okay.
That's actually possible, a good explanation.
Yeah. Here declare is put to the test, but in my opinion not.
Are you ready to eat the table, Roland, if Declaro guesses wrong?
4 spades. He is favored to have an ace. East already.
No, reluctantly. No.
All true?
Still, Wooldridge is giving it another thought.
I can't really afford the dentist bill if it goes wrong for me, you see.
If you were asked to exchange a 3M time penalty,
Is it made of glass and metal or some sort of soft wood?
I don't know. I hope wood in that case.
equable temperament is not going to be disturbed by these things.
Well, the longer Declaro thinks in a situation like this, the more hopeful the defenders are that he's going to guess wrongly. Of course, wouldn't be very good ethics for Declaro to give them some hope when he knew all along how he was going to guess, and it was pretty obvious to him how the cards did lie.
His name is Jeremy Dondi, who at one stage was playing a short knockout match against a pair of Scotsmen.
One of his teammates described Wooldridge and Hurd as the slowest pair in the event. They give everything careful consideration. But I expect him to get this right.
And his opponents were not immune.
What can West have for his jump to 4 spades on that auction if he hasn't got the ace of spades? He must have the ace of diamonds.
And from that point onwards, even though they didn't have that agreement until now, they did lead the 9 of diamonds every time they possibly could, and it worked out extremely well for them.
So let's just see if you click on my link here, or the link I gave, that there are 6 different explanations as to why the 9 of diamonds is named the Curse of Scotland.
Is that one of your famous party pieces that you can reel off, keep the party, all the people at the party really amused by reeling off the full list of 6? Remind me not to come to the party, by the way.
I think Joel Wooldridge asked him a question about his moods, perhaps. Once the director has been called to the table for...
The advantage of the 7 of diamonds being known as the beer card is that at any party, people just drink the beer. They really don't care why it's called the beer card.
The Vugraph system should say who's thinking. It was certainly capable of doing that 20 years ago.
Well, you may not know it, but I do. You would be surprised if I didn't, wouldn't you?
But the longer he thinks...
Now, it dates back to 1928, the Students' Club in Copenhagen, Denmark. I know something about that. I've been a member of the Students' Club for 40 years, and that's how it started, and then they decided that if you could take the last trick with the 7 of diamonds, you're entitled to a beer. And I kind of also tell you, many think that this is not true, but it is. It doesn't matter whether you play a diamond contract or not. You're entitled to a beer if you can take the last trick with the 7 of diamonds without jeopardizing your contract. Now, on the other hand, if your 7 of diamonds is in the last trick and losing the trick to the opponents, you must buy a beer to all 3 players, not just your partner.
I wish I had... I was sufficiently
Does this rule apply to anyone who's more than 17 years old?
What the book is about. Maybe it's reason play or
no, I don't know.
By, somebody.
I must admit I wasn't there when it was decided. I'm not that
Well,
old.
that's what you think. I believe that inside he has hidden pages.
No, it's not what I think. I have a picture of it. If you want to, I can... because we made a picture of it.
I believe that giving somebody a book to read about squeezes would...
Well, this is the sort of situation when if people do think for ages, I think, well, their brain is just going round in circles. Even if it were a tricky decision whether to play the jack or the king, there's very, very little data to process. I would just put it down to dithering if someone was spending so long. I mean, you know what the bidding is, you know what the players were shown. He was going to switch to a diamond anyway. Oh, good, he's made his decision.
Well, I completely agree with you, David. I think in the US team trials, there's a whole list of things about behavior and ethics to do with time control. And one of them would, I would say, would apply in this kind of area of just consistently rechecking stuff when there's no need to just make a decision and stick with it.
Third in hand opening, 1 heart from north, 2 club overcall, 3 club...
It's not that it's your own time you're playing with as it would be in some international chess match with your clock ticking by. By taking a whole load of time on some board, you may be robbing your opponents of think time on some subsequent board.
Which looks a pretty good result, since there appears to be a loser.
And it's also very difficult to legislate against, because if Levin and Weinstein now called the time controller, the time that Wooldridge has just taken wouldn't be seen by the time monitor. It would be only the time in the future that's seen. That just seems very unfair to me.
Lost the lead.
I wouldn't be so harsh on Wooldridge. Sorry, gentlemen, I don't agree with you. I mean, you seem to have forgotten that it also took Levin some time to switch to a diamond, although he knew, and we knew, that he was going to switch to a diamond.
Indonesia, England is 6.5 or 7.5.
Yes, well, 2 wrongs don't make a right, do they?
For Netherlands over France in the Venice Cup.
No, but in that case, they're both at fault.
Seniors, but USA2 running away in the seniors over USA1.
No, I'm getting the standard question, if there's any limit to play for a player. Well, there's no limit per board as such. There's a limit regarding completing the 16 boards, and they must finish the 16 boards within 2 hours and 20 minutes.
I just saw on the live streaming the explanation of the spade bid. It's obviously not showing just really good spades and nothing else, because he's a passed hand and could have opened 2 or 3 spades. So the explanation was spades and at least 2 clubs in support of the club suit. In other words, it's some sort of fit bid, basically.
I think they're both
looking at what he holds, it's rather dubious bid, isn't it, to go to 3 spades on that West hand?
PO once went down in a contract and discovered he didn't like it, so he's decided.
I think the reason he did 3 spades is because he expects North-South to bid 4 hearts next, and he wanted to pinpoint the lead. And that was the extra. He was prepared to risk that to get partner to find a good lead.
Yeah, very praiseworthy, but it was quite a risk, wasn't it, with only a doubles and club support and carrying the bidding up to, say, 4 clubs possibly, if partner didn't have anything in spades. Still, survived it. I suppose that's a playable contract.
So differences in style here, in a sense. Probably shouldn't have produced a different result.
Yes, I think I'd definitely describe it as thin. But one thing I do notice with these top players is when they do have distribution, they're far more likely to step out and do something and take a risk like this. But yes, Jack X isn't great if his partner had the Ace-King to 5 clubs that we saw on the first session this morning.
And now South cashed the Ace of Clubs, trying to cut out the roughs.
Yes, exactly. It's all very well for the textbooks to say you need a 6-card suit to overcall at the 2 level, but no one seems to follow that. And the more I watch on BBO, the more I see that the top pros come in. If they've got enough points to bid, they come in on Ace-King to 5, whatever the textbooks say.
Anyway.
Of course, I bet when they come in on Ace-King to 5, they also have 3 spades.
Looking at 3 spades.
So that's why he tends to bid like this.
Jack of Hearts, Rousseau, ducked by Declarer, and a shift to a diamond at trick 2.
Well, you see the difference between having the 10 of hearts or not. It's very important for dummy to have the 10 of hearts, because that means that the defense can't tap Declarer effectively. But I still think that the 9 of spades will come into play here,
anyway, you were talking about
and that he might go 1 down.
Contracting the other night, I cannot see there is any hurry. Yes, there is a hurry of spade return.
Right, but if South had led a trump to the first trick, and you can see why he didn't, because he was worried the spades would set up for discards, but he had trump control. If he had led a trump, then he would have been able to get in, draw dummies trump one way or another, and the defenders
It seems to be confirmed by our colleague NK Gupta from India. He also reckons that the defense will come to 2 spade tricks, 1 heart and 1 in each minor.
USA match in the seniors did make 3 hearts on the north-south cards. Okay, so the heart comes back, and that's ducked by South, who's confident that West has a singleton.
What happened here? I think there's a huge difference between covering and ducking. I think Declarer could have made it if he had discarded a diamond instead, because then he wouldn't have had to rough a diamond. Well, he can't make it anymore. Well, it wasn't a clever duck at all, Hurd Bennett. Would have been down if he had covered.
Very strange to pitch a club, isn't it?
Oh,
I really don't understand that. You're not going to be able to rough your diamonds. Oh,
I believe alphabetically that P's come after O. So,
yep.
defenders did force declare.
I agree. That's why I don't understand that he didn't pitch a diamond, because he hasn't knocked out the ace of clubs yet.
Is up to 9 imps.
Surprisingly,
but I think all routes are leading to one down.
Russian consist of Gromov and QP.
That's right. They played under that name. I remember.
I don't think so. Not when Wooldridge failed to cover the 10 of hearts. He could have made it by pitching a diamond.
Final contract is 3 no trumps, making 460 on a club lead. Even if you guess the jack of diamonds, don't seem to have an easy way to avoid the heart trick unless the double finesse is correct, but if you played 6 clubs you'd probably make it. Nobody did. Not surprising.
Coming back to this Russian team, which is ahead now in the transnationals, I think it's
might be 3-2 and you suffer a rough somewhere.
Yes, it wasn't terribly likely that it was going to be a rough. But I suppose if East had 4 diamonds...
Obviously it wouldn't really help Declarer to play the ace and drop singleton honour from the East hand, because he would then still have to play hearts away from his hand in all probability. So the only 4-1 break that he can deal with is when there is the single 9, it seems.
Another diamond on the spade, but you still, if you give away a heart, you might suffer a diamond rough.
So Declarer in the other room didn't take the inference that, and this is played the same line here as Hurd. And on roughing the club, just laid down the ace of hearts. He didn't take any specific inference from the double that East had a singleton heart. He just played him for value.
Play exactly the same to the first 3 tricks, and the ace of hearts.
But why the ace of hearts?
The same is going to happen here.
Why the ace of hearts?
Yes.
Because if you don't play them from the top, you might go down when they're 3-2.
You might still be able to afford to play a diamond to dummy and then a heart towards your hand. And to sight.
Is that a bit strange though, because it's the sort of contract that you'd think was in the bag if hearts were breaking 3-2. On the other hand, if they are 4-1, it's pretty unlikely you can make it, although we could see on the 52 card diagram that the 9 was singleton. That's not much of a chance.
Okay, a little more excitement here too. After the 4-heart opening bid, it's a 4-spade.
Interesting that both Norths made the same play. Not as quick as Kitten, Woolsey and Barnett Schenkin to say that they made errors, although I'm quite willing to believe that they're right. But it is interesting to see 2 declarers play the same way. There must have been a good reason for them to do that. But of course you would be
tempted. I'm always tempted.
Okay.
It also depends on the style of your 4 openings. If you have if you can have, you're vulnerable.
Of course, the defenders do have 2 hearts and a club to cash.
And
in
one
the closed room.
Heart, isn't it? Oh, they had two?
If there are any kibitzers who think maybe that West should have thought of a slam on those cards, then they should remember that 4 spades, although it shows a better hand than 3 spades, it is still a preemptive bid. If you've got anything like 8 or 9 tricks in your hand and opening bid values, you shouldn't open at the 4 level. You should open either at the 1 level or with a massive hand open 2 clubs.
Just for the record, of course, the left-hand screen is showing different boards to the ones that we're playing.
In addition to that, it's a pretty silly idea to even sit for a few seconds wondering whether you should bid on the West hand, because for all you know, the player in the 4th seat might consider bidding something over 4 spades if you just pass quickly, if he's got most of the values that the other side has and a bit of shape.
If the defenders don't cash their heart tricks, can declare established diamonds, probably only on a club return.
What do you mean? He should. If he doesn't rough, he's down.
Yes, but while he has 2 heart losers, he can also establish the 5th diamond for an over trick if he's prepared to give up the fractional risk.
Levin will flatten the board now by roughing the diamonds to establish the 5th diamond and using trumps as entry, which will give him 11 tricks.
That, I believe, was what happened in the other room, and here I think Bobby Levin is just settling for 10 tricks.
So I see Barnett has also just noted that in the other semi-final, both declarers also went down in 4 hearts. One of them was doubles. So I'm slightly going to start thinking about changing my tune. And that if 4 declarers in the semi-final of the Bermuda Bowl played it the same way, there's a fair chance that there was a good reason for it.
What do you mean they've been playing for a week and they're all exhausted? Is that what you're thinking?
Have the same possibility and they don't.
No, they're all pros. I think they probably played it the right way.
Yes, of course.
I'm sure that the USA1, in their heart of hearts, believe that if they avoid losing these game swings, they'll pay off with the 1-imps and still win overall. Rightly or wrongly.
Did he have the interest to enjoy a long heart as he was suggesting, or not? He's only got 2 entries in the trump suit, hasn't he?
South now has to discard the ace of hearts.
2 entries in the trump suit and 1 diamond entry, so he could play diamond, rough 1 small, trump, rough a diamond, small.
Had a double to diamond. Perhaps he should have known that wasn't relevant.
Yes, that seems that you're right. So why didn't he do that? He had enough high trumps to rough the diamonds high. I suppose he would need to take 1 discard first, would he, in case they broke 5-2 and the trumps... No, he'd see the trumps for 2-1. It seemed to be that he could have done that, yeah.
Lead is 11 imps for USA2. Very low scoring set. Final contract, 4 hearts by East-West. I think they did well to get to 4 hearts. Not everybody managed it. It's certainly...
Well, it's I would say it's pretty obvious, the bidding. 1 diamond, 1 heart, 2 diamond, 3 hearts, invitational, and 4 hearts. Singleton and doubleton honor hearts.
The 3 heart bid that isn't obvious.
I would say.
Are you really sure that facing a hand that hasn't raised hearts that you should bid 3 and not 2? Okay.
Well,
let's see what Bobby Levin thinks. He thinks it's a 2 heart bid.
Yes, I think they're pretty.
May go 2 diamonds, 2 hearts now. Is he too strong for 2 hearts? Yeah, now a raise to 3 hearts and then 4. No, it's passed out.
I'm not surprised Italy bid 4 hearts, for instance, on this hand.
Yes, but since I think 4 hearts is an overbid on this, 3 hearts is an overbid as East, and 2 hearts is an underbid, maybe you have to play different methods.
Well,
at the other table, East bid 3 hearts instead of 2 hearts. So that was a tough decision, really. He won't have liked the singleton diamond very much, but certainly a successful decision.
5 spades and 4 hearts, and less than an invitation. So I think they have.
It's not clear how strong 2 hearts can be. Looking at the convention card for East-West. They don't play weak jump shifts, so it's not as if he's shown constructive value on this auction because they had a weak jump shift available. They use that for showing other hands. So I guess that Levin was just on the cusp of whether to bid 2 hearts or 3 hearts and decided to go low over the 2 diamond rebid, which would normally be quite weak, I think.
Joe Grew, whose 1 diamond and 2 diamond rebid could have been.
I remember that Reese used to say that 2 hearts should show pretty good values, you know, maybe something around 8 to 10, because if you just had 7 points opposite a 2 diamond rebid, you could normally survive by passing. And if you didn't pass when you had a bit less, there was rather a wide band for 2 hearts, because 3 hearts, you not only need to have, say, 10, 11 points or so, but you also need a pretty solid suit to go to that level.
So,
well, I think Levin agrees with you, and with Reese.
6 more imps for USA2. They lead by 17.
I think you're right. It does really help if you play very sound.
6 spades.
The 2 hearts should be sounder here. You shouldn't be bidding it on ace empty to 6 and nothing else.
Very good result for USA2.
Well, nor should you be bidding it on a weak hand just to improve the trump suit. Normally you should it should have some element of constructive bidding to it. In other words, you're happy if partner's got a heart support, so that he should carry on bidding.
For example, I don't think East and West are going to bid at all. I'd be very surprised now if North-South get beyond 4 spades.
I'm a little bit surprised by Michael Cannell's bid of 6 spades in the classroom.
Seems to me all these semi-finals have been played very quickly compared with the round robin and the quarter-finals. I mean, they've been getting through their matches in under 2 hours, haven't they? They've only got 3 boards left, and they've been playing for just an hour and a half.
So there's a fair
yes,
assumption that his
you're right about that, David. 4 boards left, actually, but doesn't matter. You're right, absolutely right.
To be honest, I would be afraid that
please be honest.
Do you think part of that is?
Please be honest. Partner
I was going to say, do you think part of the reason for the speed is familiarity? The Americans don't tend to play stack exotic methods, and these 2 teams will know each other well. They're playing fairly standard American style, whereas in the round robin they're facing a lot more esoteric things that they don't find in North America so often, such as multi 2 diamond bids, far more transfer responses everywhere.
might be worried that partner with a second round heart control in this auction wouldn't be able to show it. Because
okay, back to this hand.
But in the process, he would have
Well,
directed the heart lead.
North South were unable to find out that they were off a heart control.
Prepared to let Mike Camel off with a caution, but you can convict him if you like.
I can't really understand what made Camel drop to 6 spades over 5 clubs.
I think
His partner tries control in both red suits.
by West was made it very hard.
Yep.
Well, he's bid 5 clubs, missing the ace, king, queen of trumps. So just look at the difference. I mean, the bidding that we see here, North just raised 1 spade to 2, and North seems to have gone bananas at the other table, has he not? 5 clubs. I mean, that's pretty strong bid on.
So East gets all the credit
On what he has.
and a black mark for style while he puts 13 imps in the end column.
What's wrong with the 2-club overcall? Your partner had a
I
pass
agree,
to it, so
David.
very
I
good.
think if I had ace, king, queen of trumps and my partner bid 5 clubs,
Green,
there's
mark,
no way I'm
whatever.
not bidding
Gold
slam.
Yes, I think your fans will understand.
Fleischer seems to have got a little overexcited on this auction, maybe because he thought that 4 spades just didn't express how good his hand was, but he's opened it without
I
a great
saw
deal.
At one point I saw Peter Manhart overcall with
Didn't they bid 4 spades in front of him? And the suit symbols are pretty small.
That was in the Philip
It
Morris
went with
case.
diamond, 2 clubs, 2 spades, and West may have bid 4 spades as a splinter bid.
But the interesting point.
No, you're right. He did bid 4 spades. I had assumed it
For
was a
2
black
boards
4
in a
club.
row, Bobby Levin was
It was 4 spades.
considerably more conservative than Justin Lell, and
That does make it much more difficult for Fleischer, I guess. But even so, he has opened the hand, and
You can't use the word conservative
Yeah.
about not overcalling here.
his partner's
You can use
bid 2 spades, I guess.
concept of less
I'd be
manic.
more tempted just to bid 5 spades than to start bidding
Bobby
cubing
Levin
my
less
boys.
manic, okay.
Is there a stronger word?
Well,
Barry, search your dictionary for a stronger...
I think bidding 2 clubs.
Our
gave
colleague
13
suggesting that
so therefore
perhaps
bottom line is you really
Camel
can't
could have bid 5 hearts over 5 clubs as the last train bid.
except for the fact that it
I would like to bid slam, but I'm not
can't believe
quite
you never
sure.
know the next time you overcall whether you have this hand or a real overcall.
Yes, well, I don't know about that. I rather agree with Paul. If you're looking at the ace, king, queen of trumps and your partner goes to 5 clubs, facing a 2-level response, you don't need to ask him again, well, are you sure? You know, last try should be that you don't have enough to bid slam, and the ace, king, queen of trumps means that you do have enough to bid a slam as we see it.
800?
Who cares? Didn't happen.
No.
And as our colleagues
In fact,
have
it
said,
did happen.
there's a
North
lot
bid
to
One question
give
for you.
credit to East-West for
When
consuming
North
all
bid
of the
5 clubs
space.
over 4 spades,
Yeah.
let's assume that North-South were in a forcing auction. Let's assume that. Does that show...
Even if you add in a card like the
hand
king of
and
hearts,
passing
say
and
give
then
South
doing
the
the
king
next
of hearts
hand?
instead of the queen, you've still got a bit of
Obviously, he
bit
when
of
he bid
play,
5
haven't
clubs,
you? And
he needed to show his club control.
in
If he
6
passed, he
spades,
wouldn't
you've
have
got
been able to bid
some
5
work
clubs
to
the
do.
next time.
Right.
So you could argue that it's just any hand with a club void.
Here,
Maybe Mike
but
Camel thought his partner had a better hand than he did.
here North-South bid 4 diamonds, just May.
Well, I haven't been following the score, but all of a sudden I noticed that there's a 30 imp gap. Where did that come from? The teams were level about an hour ago.
Club, heart,
It's quite amazing.
probably no
Steady
spades.
stream of
Probably
imps.
No
No spades.
spades, no.
It's 28 against 4 in this set.
See all 4 hands, you might make 5 diamonds,
Oh,
but
yes.
you won't.
Since board 2, USA1
Yes,
hasn't gained a single imp.
Let's have
Does
a look
now.
again at Lal.
It times
2
went down
diamonds.
2.
Jan,
Sorry?
Have you observed?
When I was watching the American trials to see which team would qualify to be USA2, I think most of the American fans watching were pretty disappointed that this young team not only beat McStroth and Rodwell's squad, the nickel team, they also beat the diamond team, who'd won at least one, maybe two of the American Nationals and a World Championship too. So they thought that two teams that would have done a lot better than them had been knocked out. I was rooting for the young team because I thought anyone who can beat the nickel team deserves to play in the Bermuda Bowl. And it's turning out, of course, that they are very well worth their place here and have performed very strongly indeed.
Joe Groves showed great discipline when his partner overcalled 2 diamonds vulnerable. You have 15 points. And you accept to play 4 diamonds only. So the partnership seems to know exactly what they're doing.
Remember, he was present at the table when his partner overcalled on ace-king 5th on the previous hand. So he may have been somewhat
10-5th.
10-9-5th.
Right.
May have been somewhat influenced by that. Now here West is in a very similar position, except that he knows
a lot of pairs would play Levin Sol in this position after a double of 1 heart, 2 hearts, so if East just had a pretty weak hand, he could bid 2 no trumps to show it, and then they could rest in his suit at a low level. On that basis, a direct response of 3 diamonds would suggest around 8 to 10 points, and his actual 4 diamond bid would show even more.
Officially, he is.
Groove was not.
Officially, he should bid now something.
You mean that's the rules?
Yeah. But Wooldridge didn't pay attention enough.
You mean if you touch the bidding box?
It's unusual to see a jump to 4 diamonds like that because partner may be pre-balancing, although the fact that opener's pass suggests he's full value for his bid. But also he'll often be bidding
now you have to play pretty well
with the black
it
suit
works.
and not have a particularly good diamond.
You can make it.
If you
And of course you're going past 3 no trumps, which might be possible on that East hand. And he wants one or 2 diamond honours in his partner's hand, and he's looking at 7 tricks, so he doesn't need much else to bring it up to 9. And a minor suit game is much less likely.
If he does, he'll certainly deserve a little applaud.
Now, this is an interesting contract.
It has to be played pretty.
As we see, the contract can be made. Take some good guesswork in diamonds and in spades, or perhaps not in spades. But first of all, in diamonds, you have to take a double finesse in diamonds in order to make.
Yep.
That's not easy. You have to advance the queen, king, ace, then eventually get to dummy with a club. Take the spade finesse first, and then the diamond finesse. Easy with all cards in view.
But there are many chances for making if the diamonds are 2-2, even if the spades are not so
If
favourable.
Declarer did that to me, I'd hold my cards much closer to my chest.
I can't see any way that Declarer will make this.
he played low.
You can see that West has placed his partner with quite a good hand for this 4 diamond jump, because he's gone to 5 diamonds with only 1 ace in his hand and the 2 top spades missing, and you must bear in mind that his partner didn't overcall 2 diamonds over a heart, which indeed some players would have done on the very cards that East has.
If he takes an early spade finesse, runs the queen, there might be a way that he could get a count on the spades before playing trumps. I'm not sure if when a heart comes back that he can do that. If the defenders don't play a heart back, he has some chances, but it is surely right to return a heart at trick 2. If it wasn't right to play a heart, Declarer wouldn't have ducked the first trick.
I like to play over low heart. It's a little surprising, but I think it's a good play for what's it worth.
Okay, he's down. He played the low diamonds, as you would expect.
So, this is the end of this.
Okay.
Down one.
Another good score for USA2.
Morums. Yep.
As far as the diamond guess goes, you might say that it was practically 50-50 whether after Queen, King, Ace, whether you were going to finesse the 9 or play from the top. And you've got to add in the fact that it's not that easy to get to dummy to take that second finesse. So you can understand why the declarers wouldn't be so interested in following that line.
Extremely good. Closed room, final contract. 3 no trumps, making 430.
Declarer would also think that hearts are probably 6-3 rather than 5-4, and therefore there's less reason to play north for 3 diamonds.
Yeah, and also South bid just 2 hearts with a singleton diamond. I mean, if he had bid 3 hearts, then perhaps he would have got it right.
Right. I find it hard. You're right, Roland. I mean, he might have got closer to getting it right if South had bid 3 hearts. But I think, in reality, he's always just going to take a simple diamond from there.
It's a transfer to no trump. 3 hearts preemptive. All of a sudden, Bobby Levin decides to be aggressive.
So here we have the 1 spade. Okay, David, you're going to say the same, so you do it, please.
And 3 no trumps.
No, I'll let you explain that. I was just saying that leading a low diamond picks up single king in the north hand as well on the previous hand. Anyway, you go on the 1 spade bid.
Well, yes, you said it earlier, but in case we have new viewers, listeners, that the 1 spade bid denies spades. If Hurd had spades, he would have doubled to show 4 or more spades.
Has 4 clubs and a heart trick, so he needs to take 4 diamond tricks. There's no real indication.
So this will be the quickest hand of the set, I'm guessing. So we'll get a claim
enough to play it from the top.
As soon as Declarer gets the lead.
But East preempted in hearts.
Certainly possible.
In fact, he's going to take the first trick, isn't he, and just run for home.
Win the ace of hearts and play a couple of rounds of clubs.
Well,
it would also have been
showed out.
He can't claim just yet. He just has to test diamonds first.
You just don't have enough information to go on.
I was going to say most players would bid either 2 no trumps or 3 no trumps immediately on the north card, seeing very little future in any suit contract unless partner had a freak hand. He's got a double heart stop in all probability. May not be that obvious to decide between 2 and 3, but maybe you could say those hearts are worth more than the 5 points normally allotted to them when you're over a heart overcall.
I think we'd find that both 1 no trump and 2 no trump are conventional for this partnership, and he wouldn't want to jump to 3 no trumps precipitously.
Netherlands, Italy,
1 spade is his way out of that. East-West made it as difficult as they could by preempting in hearts, but Wooldridge was able to make a takeout double and therefore get them back to the 3 no trump contract.
It would be unusual for 2 no trumps to be artificial. I mean, 1 no trump can be a transfer to clubs, but facing one of a minor, 2 no trumps is usually natural.
Previous board, the Netherlands already have...
well, if the Cupid shows 6 spades, then you do need some way of showing a strong raise in diamonds.
Potential good score for the Netherlands.
They bid 2 diamonds inverted, as we saw earlier in the club suit.
Any reason to go for an anti-percentage line?
Yeah, I think if you cash 2 rounds of clubs, you're still in trouble. You would have to
take a
finesse
first round
directly in diamonds.
If clubs had been 5-1, you might have done that, but they weren't. Closed room.
There's a dull board. It looks like it.
Well, East-West can make at least a part score in diamonds, I guess. They didn't get the chance to bid, and Netherlands played 3 no trumps.
Quite ambitious.
Yep.
How do you come to 3 now?
Maybe a heart and no trump, 2 hearts,
oh,
double
no.
for takeout?
I think I know, because West opens a heart, and now North cannot overcall no trump due to the fact that they play a raptor no trump overcalls.
Excellent.
If this goes a heart and no trump, 2 hearts, then South has the option of a takeout double.
2 hearts on your right, and now South might bid 2 spades, perhaps. Yep. Well, knowing Driver and Brink, they're very aggressive, and North concludes the bidding with 3 no trump.
Notice that 5 diamonds on a heart lead. You can pitch a couple of clubs. You've certainly got 3 aces to lose. You can make 10 tricks, I guess. No, maybe 9. Maybe the defense have to get a split.
Which just occasionally is not actually taken out, which is clearly what North is considering. I think most people would think he did have enough to pass the double. No reason to expect there to be a game on his way, so something like 300 would be fine on the board.
It's not unreasonable.
No. A bit of pass now. It's got a bit diamonds. No, please.
3 diamonds. Why not?
Wouldn't that be forcing?
Any bets on West under leading the ace of hearts to the first trick?
I think he's going to bid 3 now.
He might do. Might he make it?
Well, I don't know. Is that really a weekend now?
So what happens if the
I guess the concern with leaving 2 hearts doubled in is if partner does have 5 diamonds.
3 no.
And you don't have any diamond trick.
Yep. If West doesn't find it,
starting to get a little close to them being able to make 2 hearts.
Yes. He must win the ace and play back a club.
Maybe East will lead the 10 of hearts.
South must be worried that his partner is still thinking and that the board hasn't come through with the final contract marked at 3 diamonds. I mean, often when you double and then bid a suit, that's weak, but here he may have doubled on a better hand, possibly, with spades and diamonds, and North is having to work out how many points his partner's going to have after this sequence.
Yeah, so on board 13, the Netherlands won 3 M's, going down 1 in 5 diamonds. The other room defended 3 no trump, down 2.
But that lead is not likely to last out this board, is it?
No, I don't think so. I'm afraid the Netherlands give in on this one. But you never know. The Italians are aggressive bidders, like the Dutch are.
I guess North is thinking, well, if partner's got 5 diamonds, how bad can 3 no trumps be?
Left-hand screen, you'll get the updated scores. Parry match in front of Australia. Angelini third.
Well, you lead
Poland.
You need 9 tricks. I mean, there's no reason to believe that the opponents don't have anything. Remember that Weinstein opened 1 heart in second seat. In second seat you would normally have a sound opener, because there's only 1 opponent to preempt, and there's only 1 there's also 1 partner.
How do you play this auction, P.O.? Well done by North.
Well, that's pretty well done, isn't it? He knew what was going on, and they've stopped in a safe spot. It's not that easy to work out what would have happened in 3 no trumps. I mean, certainly if East had led the 4 of hearts and West put the ace up, then that would give declarer a very healthy start.
Either the ace of hearts or the ace of clubs. That would speed up things.
On the auction, he knew partner had a 4 spades and a singles and hearts. So the only question was whether partner had 6 diamonds or 5 diamonds. And I suspect that the reason he was in the tank for so long was that if partner has 6 diamonds, then perhaps we have 9 kings and 3 no trumps.
Inspired lead, but not this time.
That makes it much less likely that he would start with the takeout double, then, even if he was 4-6, I suppose he might, but it's more likely that he would transfer directly into diamonds using some route.
Just fine. But
I think also if he was 4-6, he might well just bid 3 no trumps rather than 3 diamonds.
He wasn't going to beat 3 diamonds, whatever he did.
Sure. We can't know what he was thinking about, but we're just trying to explain what happened and why he took so long.
Oh, you lose 3. Yeah, you can.
I think he had something to think about, and I think it was only fair that he took his time for it.
This is another of the many situations where you can make good use of Levin's soul. If South just wanted to play in 3 diamonds on a long suit, but not many points, he could bid 2 no trumps over 2 hearts, expecting his partner to bid 3 clubs, and then he could sign off in 3 diamonds. Instead of that, a direct bid of 3 diamonds would have been stronger.
West would not lead the king of spades, with queen 10 4th of clubs as a viable option.
Declarer may get it right, but it will take some time.
It's a
Not an easy guess for Wooldridge here after the King of Spades lead. There's a sense that Weinstein may have the diamonds controlled if he's making such a wild lead.
He played.
One would have thought that this would be a low-scoring set, wouldn't it? I mean, not many opportunities for swings. Well, we had that 6 hearts, where they bit, 6 spades, they bit off the ace king of hearts in the other room. And that was a swing in this match. It wasn't a swing in any other match. If you take the match between Italy and Netherlands, for instance, they have completed 12 boards now, and the scoreline is 7-9. 16 imps exchanged in 12 boards.
Well, even our match is very low scoring, particularly if you ignore that 6 spades, which was rather eccentric. The biggest swing would be 6 imps, and very, very low scoring.
Picked up a couple of big swings here. They did make 3 no trumps on repeated heart leads.
Yes, the same applies to all other matches. The 2 in the Venice Cup and the 2 in the seniors.
We believe that
I think you can have a peaceful sleep, David, in the knowledge that England will be slightly up after the third segment.
Margin at the moment. That set is complete, by the way. All 16 boards are in.
Well, I forgot Paul is also an England supporter. I'm surrounded by England supporters here. Well, I don't mind. As you know, I like England very much.
Well, one of my Premier League teammates is on the England team, so I should be supporting them.
More complicated than that. More complicated.
So Wooldridge has done well here. He got the clubs wrong, but he got the diamonds right.
Has gone up to 38.
That means he's going to make this contract. Another couple of imps to the USA2.
Closed room. Final contract.
Yes, nice set. I haven't done anything wrong in this room. Well, I hadn't done much wrong in the other room either, if you ignore that 6-spade contract. Big good bridge all round, I would say.
No, sorry. Is a puppet to 3
yes.
clubs.
Excuse me, yes. Yeah.
So last board of the match it is now. So I would like to take the opportunity to thank our excellent operator in Veldhoven. His name is Kevin Gortink. Well done to you. And thanks to my excellent co-commentators, David Bird and Paul Gipson. Also thanks to our colleagues doing the written commentary, Barnett Schenken, Danny Sprung, Joey Silver, and a few others. And finally, thanks to our spectators for coming this afternoon, early evening in Europe. We hope you enjoyed the show, and that you will be back with us tomorrow at the same time, starting at 10:30 in the morning, 10:30 Central European Time, 9:30 AM in the UK, 19:30 in Australia, 4:30 AM in New York, and finally 1:30 AM in Los Angeles. Thank you, everyone.
You remember on the previous board we were discussing whether North should leave in the double of 2 hearts on his King, Queen, Jack to 4. And we saw that North here took it out. On the very next hand, a similar situation arose at the other table, a natural 2-club opening, 2 no trumps from East, 3 clubs, pass, pass, and South now decided to contest with a double. Now, you can see it's very, very risky for the North player to leave in that double on the basis that he's got 2 trump tricks in his hand. As it turns out, he didn't even have 2 trump tricks, and 3 clubs doubled was made. So I think that the North player at our table has demonstrated that he has better judgment than North at the other table, whoever that is. I can't see on the on my current screen, by pulling the double at one table, whereas North didn't here, even though he had 2 playable red suits.
It was Marty Fleischer who didn't bid, and I think he missed the point that his partner would have doubled 2 no trumps for takeout if he had a legitimate takeout double of clubs. So when he doubles 3 clubs in the pass-out seat, he's only competing for the part score, and if he'd have realised that, then he'd have probably thought that he should have realised that his hand is just too dangerous to pass. You're aiming for a very small target, so just bid your major and take the fit there.
So here we are in 4 hearts. Nobody doubled. If North had been doubled in 4 hearts,
in fact 870 implies that an over trick is made, so that's really quite bad judgment at this level for such great players.
Yes, we all agree that it was bad judgment.
I would blame South for coming in at the position he did.
As Edgar Kaplan once said, take-out doubles are supposed to be taken out. Full
Each
stop.
partnership trusted their partner too much.
Just imagine the horror of the North player when dummy goes down with queen to 3 trumps over him. He'll probably have nightmares about it.
5-5. I know quite a few Norwegians who played this as
I don't think he'd have been that enamoured to find ace, queen of spades over his king either.
The ace of clubs? I don't think so.
Indeed.
I think West will win the ace of clubs and play the king of diamonds at trick 2. In fact, de Cler is doing something different. He played a spade.
Well, sometimes you can leave a take-out double in, but as a rule of thumb, I mean, if you do, you have to be almost 100% certain that you can beat the contract by 2 tricks.
No, he's forcing his
because then there is a margin for error of judgment.
Will go down unless he ducks his ace.
A couple of the written commentators have suggested that perhaps Fleischer was a little unsettled by what's gone on in the set and a bit of bad plan. Some of them would know Fleischer a lot better than I would, but from what I've seen, he's a man who really likes to... He does take control. He loves playing the last set, even though he is the sponsor of the team. And I don't think he'll be unduly flustered. I don't think that would have been a reason for the decision. I think it's more likely he just missed the fact that his partner could have doubled 2 no trumps initially.
2 no trumps here and made 150, so a good result for them. And we will be back tomorrow morning at 10.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much a question of how many points partner's going to have, because he's heard the bidding of the other side, so he's not expecting partner to have that many points, whether he doubles directly or whether he doubles in the pass-out seat. Say that he doubled 2 no trumps and the opener had gone to 3 clubs. I mean, would he have doubled that?
Well, he's not more likely to. 2 clubs, we've seen some really thin 2 club
We don't even... Yeah. We don't really have time for more, Paul, I'm sorry. They're going to shut down any second. Thanks everyone for coming, and goodbye for now. See you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching.